Hey gang, howdy. Just wanted to take a few moments to chat with you about the upcoming assignment, the concept map, and just to say a little bit more about my thinking on this one, and a few other things about the grid as well that you did for the ancient models, and then another one coming up for postmodern. So I had a student reach out to say, do I have something that I can offer to guide them a little bit in terms of this concept map? And I actually don't, because like the grids that we just finished, the concept map is a new assignment that I came up with for this, this course redesign, refresh. And it's attempting to do something a little bit similar to the knowledge grid, but to be a little bit more broad-minded, I guess, in terms of how you're thinking about some of these concepts. And so first of all, the grid that you did, by the way, I thought that assignment pretty broadly went quite well. There was a range of approaches and styles and whatnot, but in terms of trying to better understand the models and the nuances of the models, I think it went pretty well. I was pretty pleased with what you guys came up with, and it seems to me that if you do well on that assignment, then you're going to be pretty well situated for handling the material in this class, because you got those anchoring ideas. So hopefully that worked. I'd appreciate feedback if you thought that was a worthwhile exercise. Again, this is all new. So the focus on the knowledge grids was a little bit more broad and synthetic, right? You're trying to understand these four different major kind of traditions and some of the distinctions and nuances within and across them. So it's a little bit more of a kind of comprehensive take on some of these concepts. Now, for the concept map, what you're going to do is you're going to drill down on a single concept or idea, and I've listed a bunch. Topoi, invention, dialectics, presence, intersectionality, artistic proofs, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of these really important, rich, juicy concepts in rhetoric that we talk about over and over again. And for my money, the value of the class is in these concepts, which are both specific and kind of singular, like something like dialectics or presence. These are single terms or just a couple of words, but they are referring to some action and dynamic and a phenomenon that's important, and it's not necessarily super clearly defined. There's different ways of kind of thinking about some of these concepts, and so to be able to understand them in their particularness, but also their complexity and their applicability and where they can go and how they can help you kind of recognize things and better understand and analyze and critique. That's the hope here. So there's two parts. There's the kind of the art, graphic illustration, visualization kind of part, and then there's the explanation. So again, I've not done this before, and so I'm eager to see what you guys came up with. There was a range of approaches to the grids. Some of them were literally in grids, and some of them got kind of crammed into these little columns. Others were just paragraphs. I talked about this in that last video. Either approach was kind of fine. It was easier to read the stuff that was more in paragraph form, but I appreciated those who actually did the grid and made that work. So I don't want you to stress about the super specific details of what exactly I'm looking for. I'm looking for kind of two pieces. I'm looking for an attempt to represent visually a concept as you see it, in terms of how you are seeing the importance and significance of this concept, and then a nice thorough explanation of your own interpretation. All right, so right off the bat here, I was just looking at the list of concepts. Topoi is an important, rich concept in our tradition, right? And so this idea of topoi, or places, this is going back to Aristotle and Cicero. So you can think about topoi as places, right? Now, there's different ways of thinking about place. You can think about it as an actual physical place, or you can think about it as a conceptual place, or as a kind of an emotional place, or as a language place, like certain words or phrases or cliches or whatever, right? So here's my suggestion: is choose the concept that you are most comfortable with, engaged by, that you think is really important and significant and rich, and you just want to kind of work with that concept. And then maybe just jot down, do a bit of research, like look at what this concept is about, right? So the concept of presence, that one comes to us from Perelman primarily. And this idea of presence is the notion that, when our minds are fastening, attached to something like right in front of us, that is when we are most apt to be persuaded, right? And so the job of persuasion is sort of like making something present. And we talked in my other class about this notion of vividness as related to present. So to use vivid language, we were talking about images, and if an image has a vivid kind of appeal, like a meme or something like that, then it tends to stick in the mind more. So it has that presence. All right, so what are the elements of presence, right? So there's a kind of psychological awareness or an attention kind of focus on the thing. There is this idea of immediacy and kind of like it's right here. Aristotle called this bringing before the eyes, creating presence, making something feel. So description, detail, right? What are all the different kind of aspects or elements of presence that you think are significant, right? So do some research on the concept. Jot down all of these kinds of words or ideas that, again, you think are important to emphasize, and then come up with an illustration, right? Maybe it's a garden. If you're thinking about topoi, it could be a garden. It's like, oh, there's the potatoes and there's the tomatoes. These are places that I can go to make a salad. Maybe the salad is your speech or your composition, right? So you can use metaphor here. You want to be thinking figurative. You want to be thinking imaginatively with your visualization. Try not to be super literal, right? Because you're going to explain your interpretation, your visual interpretation. You're going to explain that in the narrative, and that's just a couple of pages, and that's where you want to bring in your citations, and you want to reference where you are getting this information. So I hope you have some fun with this business of visualizing this concept. Intersectionality. Whenever I close my eyes and think about intersectionality, I think of like a totem pole. It's weird. But like it has sort of different lines and colors. And is that the right way of thinking about intersectionality? Maybe it's more like traffic from above. Maybe it has more to do with like how things come together that way. Use your own creative, interpretive abilities here. Again, do the research. Try to understand the concept in as much richness and detail as you can. Jot down as many notes as you can, and then try your best to, I don't know how you're going to do this, hand draw something, or maybe you're good at working with a program. I'm not sure if AI is the way to go. Maybe AI is fine, but don't be sneaky about it. Be upfront. I don't care how you come up with this stuff. Just don't, use a machine to do it for you. Guide the machine. Maybe you can explain how you guided it and how you played with it back and forth. Maybe you can think of it as a menu. Maybe you can think about it as frames of a comic strip or something like this. I want you to have fun with these ideas, but I want you to be trying to do your best to, again, visually represent the dynamics of these concepts. Just one concept that you're choosing, and again, offer that explanation. So I don't want to take too long here, but hopefully that helps a little bit with at least where I'm coming from. I would love for, the interpretive process and how it is you're attempting to visualize this is really the key part of this task here. And then the explanation is like, okay, what were you up to there? So have some fun with it. Be artful, be, imaginative, and try to just make those connections as clear as you can in that explanation, and we should be fine. In terms of those knowledge grids, we have another one coming up, and I'll probably offer one or two as examples of ones that I thought went really well. Please don't forget to cite. Don't forget to add footnotes. Would probably be the easiest way of doing it. Just, every time you are mentioning something that is coming from a source, whether it's Herrick or one of the original readings or whatever, please add that citation. It helps tremendously the overall authority and persuasiveness of the grid that you're working on. So detail and offering those references is really important. So I think that's maybe about it for now. Hope everyone's well. Have fun with the concept maps, and I'm around if you want to chat. Okay? Peace, gang.